Hi guys, it's me, Miss Manifestor, helping you open a spiritual doorway to the abundance that you deserve, talking about all things law of attraction and mindset to help you to attract the things that you desire. So today on the channel, we're going to be talking about what I honestly feel and believe is the most important thing vibrationally to help you attract your manifestations. And that is self-worth, the vibration of self-worth. Before we jump in, make sure you click the subscribe button and hit the bell to get regular updates from me when I upload new content. You can also subscribe to my emailing list at the link in the description below, and that will give you access to my Law of Attraction library of resources. Let's get started. So if we start with the three-step process, guys, ask, believe, and receive. Believe is where we're doing most of our vibrational work from, trusting the process, believing that this is possible. And guys, it's not just believing that it's possible, because we could believe that it's possible for so-and-so to get an opportunity because they've been born into money or they've been born into the right family, for example. It's about believing it is possible for you, that this can happen for you, that you are worthy, that you are deserving, and you are powerful enough to manifest this. I feel like this is such an important statement. It's not just about believing that it's possible, it's about believing that it is possible for you as a creator, as a manifester, as a worthy and deserving human being. And this is why your self-worth is so important when it comes to what you're manifesting. Your self-worth is your point of attraction. Your manifestations will always be relative to how highly you value yourself. Now, I'm not talking about being big-headed. I'm talking about a true, beautiful love for yourself and knowing that you are worthy of what it is that you are asking for. But if we don't believe that we're worth a beautiful, wonderful, loving, caring partner, if we don't believe that we're worthy of attracting all the abundance, all the money, all the good health, if we don't believe that we're really deserving of that, then we won't be able to attract up to those big levels. So your self-worth is huge. And self-worth is developed over time through healing, through self-love and self-care methods. And I think it's worth saying that often self-worth develops and comes about out of a rock bottom moment, out of a contrast moment. Contrast and those kind of negative emotions are actually so valuable for guiding us back to knowing that we deserve better, that we want to create a better life, for steering us towards love, for steering us towards better options for us. For example, for myself, I've had quite a few moments where I've kind of got a little bit fired up and I've gone, you know what? This doesn't align with me. I don't deserve this. I deserve better. I deserve to be treated better. And in that moment, my self-worth has massively shifted up. And then things have come through for me, like messages that I've been waiting for ages, my relationship. And even guys, like when my dog passed away, I literally went viral at the same time. I was in, a deep state of grief at that time, but I still knew that I was worthy of attracting amazing things, despite the fact I was going through that. Just because you're going through something bad doesn't make you unworthy of something, as long as you know that at a core level. So I'm going to give you guys some thoughts, some tips on how you can increase your self-worth, start building on that so that you can feel truly deserving of what it is that you are manifesting into your experience. The first place we're going to start, this might surprise some of you guys, but it's boundaries. It's what you're willing to allow, what you are willing to put up with. Now, some people might say that when we're doing this, we're actually just judging that person's behavior as negative, and so it really is our problem. However, I do not believe that narcissistic behavior is acceptable, nor is emotionally abusive behavior, physically abusive, sexually abusive, racist behavior. None of that is loving, and that is not something that we should have to tolerate within our experience. We are not obligated as spiritual, loving, caring beings to be a doormat to that kind of behavior. It really is love tough. Like, loving doesn't mean just rolling over and being like, oh, I'll put up with it because, loving doesn't mean calling somebody out on their BS. Do you know what I mean? Loving actually means saying to someone, you know what, that's not acceptable, and potentially helping that person to hold a mirror up to themselves and seeing that their behavior is not loving. So I'm really encouraging you to say no to behaviors, to things around you that are not causing you to feel deserving and feeling worthy because you're feeling beat down. Putting a boundary in place can really send out a clear signal about how you view your self-worth and what you are willing to put up with. And actually at that point, you're using the contrast, and you can pivot over to saying, you know what, I don't deserve this kind of behavior, but this is what I do deserve. I deserve relationships that value me, people that appreciate me, people who are loving towards me, not people who treat me like X, Y, and Z. The second tip, guys, is mirror work and affirmations, healing techniques, things like this. So when it comes to mirror work, this can feel a little bit uncomfortable to truly look yourself in the eye. And I like to use a bridge affirmation. I call it a bridge affirmation. So if I don't feel ready to say to myself, Esther, you're amazing. Esther, you're fantastic. Esther, I love you. Esther, you're worthy of all this. I can look myself in the eye there and say, Esther, I am ready to love you. Esther, I'm ready to go on a new relationship journey with you. Esther, I'm ready to help you feel better about yourself. Esther, I'm ready to help you feel worthy. So I love using the words I'm ready, or I choose to feel like this. It's about making that shift. And then you can build on it where you can get to a place where you can look yourself in the mirror. And I would obviously say, Esther, you're doing amazing. Esther, you're going to have a great day. Esther, you're truly deserving of everything that you want to manifest. And to be able to affirm that as it already is, rather than just saying, I'm ready or I choose. At that point, I have made the shift. Also, watching your words on a daily basis. So it's quite, common for us to go, oh, I'm such a doofus, or, oh, I'm such an idiot, or gosh, why did I do that, or whatever. And actually, our subconscious mind is always listening. So every time we call ourselves an idiot, or we undervalue ourselves, or if somebody compliments you and you go, oh no, like, accept that compliment. You need to be willing to speak to yourself in a kinder way. Be more mindful of how you're speaking about yourself, but also be willing to accept compliments, because if you're willing to accept compliments, then you are attracting beautiful things into your experience. If you keep pushing compliments away, then obviously you're sending out a signal that you don't want to be complimented and that you don't want to feel good about yourself, and that's what's going to perpetuate. So it's really important to be able to speak kindly to yourself in general, like with affirmations and mirror work, but also in the way that people compliment you and the feedback that you receive, being able to take that on board humbly. Third tip is stop comparing yourself. Oh gosh, and believe me, I've done it so many times, guys. I came off social media for such a long time a few years ago. We really are bombarded with what is the ideal, and also very much like metrics and being like, oh, you have to have like 1 million followers to be successful, or, you have to have this type of face shape. You have to have this kind of nose. You have to have your eyebrows exactly like this. This is what's on trend, blah, 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 blah. Like, we're very much bombarded with what is on trend and what is cool. Also, I need to earn this much money to be perceived as successful. You can earn as much money as you want. Like, you can go as big as you want, but you earning enough money to just feel content and to feel happy and to just, pay your bills also makes you feel successful. Success is an inside job. It's not a case of going, well, if you're not earning 6 figures, what are you doing? Like, we've got to stop comparing ourselves to what is perceived as being successful and what is perceived as being beautiful and on trend and all of this, because it just robs us, guys. It robs us of our joy so much, and it makes us feel undeserving if we go, you know what, I don't measure up to that. You measure up as you are. Like, you're amazing as you are, you are beautiful as you are worthy as you are. You've been made exactly how you were supposed to be made. You are an extension of source energy, so you don't need to be the trend. You don't need to fit into the boxes. And also, guys, sometimes we have to look at other people's journeys. Like, for me, certainly as like a business person, an entrepreneur or whatever, I can't look at other people's journeys and go, oh, they might be doing better than me. Well, maybe they've been doing this for 10 years more than you. Hello? Like, you can't compare yourself and where you are at on your manifestation journey to where somebody else is. Like, you just need to focus on where you are in the present and what you're doing. Instead of looking outside of yourself, you just need to be focused on what you're doing and what you're doing well. Which leads me to my fourth point, which is writing a letter to yourself. I do this all the time, especially at the moment when I'm filming this kind of in the lockdown season. We're still in the lockdown season, hence why my lockdown hair has not been cut yet. So write a letter to yourself reminding you how awesome you are. Now, this can be in terms of achievements, but it can also be things like actually acknowledging how far you've come, about acknowledging your struggles, about overcoming your pain, showing how resilient, how strong you are, like thanking your younger self for actually all the amazing decisions that your younger self made that have brought you to where you are, everything you've manifested so far. It's really a celebration letter thanking your younger self for everything that they have done that's led you to this point today. And when I do that, gosh, it really helps me to take stock and to go, you know what, I am worthy of this. Like, I put in the action, but I also trust the universe. I've got everything under control, vibrationally, everything's going well. You know, don't compare yourself, don't get into the lack zone, don't second guess it, whatever. But this letter is really great to just kind of give you that boost and go, you know what, it's all good. Everything is on track. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I'm really grateful to my past for teaching me these lessons. It is very much about shifting your perception, shifting the story that you tell about your past. And that leads me on to point number 5, which is healing work. Now, guys, there's lots and lots of different healing modalities out there when it comes to like hypnotherapy, emotional freedom technique, which is what I practice, all kinds of things, you know, lots and lots of different types of energy healing work. But it's so important for helping you to release the limiting beliefs that are holding you back, that tell you that you're not worthy of this. Now, this can go back to childhood, you know, where you've been criticized or something and that's stuck with you. And then any other kind of reinforcing experiences, your ego has picked up on it and gone, yes, we'll feed that into the subconscious mind, and we'll create this belief that we're not good enough and we're not worthy of it, and that money is only meant for this type of person, and happiness, you know, doesn't grow on trees, or whatever your, you know, your belief system is. But it's very much about healing that stuff, you know, and being willing to do that work. Doing mirror work and doing affirmations is a form of healing work, but it's okay to acknowledge that we have these feelings. And, you know, I've talked about tapping before. I will do a proper EFT video on this, but even just tapping on yourself across your wrist and just saying, even though I have these feelings perhaps being unworthiness, or even though I have felt unworthy, I choose to love myself unconditionally. Even though I felt unworthy, I choose to love myself unconditionally. It's about making that shift. It's important to acknowledge and embrace, you know, these kind of negative emotions with love, and to kind of want to wrap our arms around them and dissolve them in love and say, you know what, I see you. I see the shadow in you. I see the shadow in myself, and I acknowledge it, and I say it's okay. And I say, but it's okay for us to feel good too. It's okay for us to move forward, for us to move on from this, rather than going, no, I don't feel it, I don't feel it, I don't feel it. It's just a form of resistance. It's just pushing it down, and what we resist persists, and eventually it kind of bubbles back up to the surface. Something triggers us, something sets us off. Gabrielle Bernstein calls it a universal assignment, when the universe keeps sending us the same kind of situation until we work it out and we go, hang on a minute, there's a pattern here. This is triggering something within me here that needs to be healed. There'll be a lot of times, guys, where we haven't done the healing work that was actually needed. And I believe because we've got those beliefs, because we've got that kind of sense of worthiness or insecurity, etc., we'll carry on manifesting those experiences until we are willing to deal with it, so that we can actually move forward and so that we can expand. It can feel scary, guys. It can make us feel very vulnerable to say, actually, I do have these insecurities and I do have these beliefs. But if we're willing to hold that mirror up to ourselves, that is half the battle in being able to do this healing work in order to move forward into a true sense of worthiness, which is what you're supposed to have. Like, we're all supposed to feel worthy. We're not supposed to live our lives feeling undeserving and unworthy. This is part of our expansion. We have come here to remember our divine nature and to remember our true worth. And a final tip, guys, is self-care. If you're not willing to make time for yourself, like, why would other people be willing to make time for you? Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to be willing to say, you know what, I'm deserving of a time out. I'm deserving of self-care. Self-care looks different to all of us. You know, my idea of self-care is a bubble bath and a face mask, get my nails done, get my hair done. For other people, it's saying, you know what, I just want to take some time out to read a book, or I might just want to take some time out in nature to get some fresh air. We've all got a different definition of what self-care is, but it's what makes us feel relaxed. It makes us feel pampered. It makes us feel nurtured. And so it's really important to be saying that you will actively make time for yourself, whether it's daily, weekly at a minimum, like absolutely, but you need to be investing in yourself, because if you're willing to invest in yourself, then others will be willing to invest in you, because you know your worth. Again, comes back to your manifestations being relative to how worthy and deserving you feel you are of what it is you're asking for. Guys, I hope this video resonated with you. Please feel free to leave comments about your self-love tips, your own self-worth journey, because there's only so much I can cover in a video. And obviously this is something that we can keep talking about on the channel, but I'd love to hear your tips, and then other people can read them as well, and they can get some advice, something that perhaps they would like to take away and implement into their own spiritual self-care routine. Sending lots of good vibes your way, guys, and I'll see you soon for another Law of Attraction video. Take care. Bye.